Hello everyone, I'm Chestic44, I'll send in fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper 2. Last episode, we went and took care of a small mission, helping someone scrap a place. We managed to get a bunch of raw scrap out of it and engine components. I don't know what they're used for yet, but I'm sure it'll be something important. So we're gonna hold on to these for a while. That said, the guy's after us now. It's time for us to retreat. And while it was suggested, hey, go to Holmes Rock, you'll be able to sell things there, I'm going to head back to Far Spindle first. Because at Far Spindle, we do have other quests to do. Sleeper. Seraphin catches your attention as you go to leave the ship. Can I have a minute? Of course. Seraphin ducks into a maintenance passage and waits for you to follow. In the narrow passage, framed by loose wires and thick conduits, Seraphin looks suddenly small, trapped. He looks at an open circuitry panel as he speaks, avoiding your gaze. You see he is playing with a coin in his hand, nervously spinning it in the air. Since we cleared Hexport, I've been putting feelers out for something. He rubs his hands nervously. I've been in the belt a long time, and I came here alone. But back on Darkside, just before we made a break for it, I heard something. I heard someone was looking for me. He pauses, trying to organize his thoughts. Who is after you? I also heard something else. They said the person looking for me claimed to be my sister. You have a sister? I did, yeah. Or I do. But I don't even know if it's really her. Just because someone says they're my sister, well, I can't be sure. The thing is, I haven't seen my sister in a long time. I was still a kid when I left. So was she, though I don't think she would have liked to admit it at the time. He smiles to himself. Oh, no, I don't think so. I know you don't remember how it was. Back in Darkside, I mean. But we were alone, you and me. Lane didn't let us out much, just to work, and that was all. So when I overheard one of his guys mention someone was sniffing around trying to find me, I didn't know what to think. And then hearing it could have been my sister. You try to recall that time, the cycle spent under Lane's influence, working for him in exchange for stabilizer. You close your eyes, focus, but the details flicker, the images collapse and reform. Has Seraphin told you this before? Was this all part of your plan? You wanted to go find her. Yes. It changed things for me, the thought that she could be out there. Don't get me wrong, I wanted to get you out of there too. He pauses and you sense he is finding this difficult. I know it doesn't matter now, but I told you about her back then. Before. I'm sorry I don't remember. It's okay, Sleeper, I understand. Since we got away, since Hexport, I've been asking around, speaking to spacers, traders, and like I said, something has finally come up. It seems whoever was trailing me left Darkside pretty soon after Utsobo caught wind of her sniffing around. I doubt they made her feel very welcome, but I managed to get a name. That name she gave, Luz, wasn't my sister's. That doesn't mean much. It gave me something to follow. She bounced around the wash a little, Far Spindle, Flotsam, not sure why. He squints at a loose wire. The last thing she did was book passage to Wellspring on a loaded freighter. That's it. I could have helped. I wanted something concrete, not something clear. You want to help? Now's your chance. I really want to go to Wellspring, Sleeper, to know if it's really her, and if it isn't, to settle what needs settling. Let's do it. Thank you, Sleeper. I will admit it has been strange, reminding myself that everything we talked about back on Darkside, everything we did, it's lost now. But I'm glad to see you are still you, whatever that means. Me too. He nods. Anyway, better get back to it. Seraphin squeezes past you in the corridor and glides back towards the engine room. You watch him go, wondering if your past together can ever be reclaimed. Your mind wanders to thoughts of Seraphin's sister. For a moment you wonder what it is like to have a family, and if you'll ever know. New drive available. Find Seraphin's sister. That's a major one. But we still need to help Cadet, and that, I think, is something we can work on here at Stripline Express. Let's see. Scope security. The Rent-A-Thugs... Actually, hold on. This is danger, but it's fine. Must be a back door or a way to make one. You find a vent that runs beneath the floor of the strip line. You hear the security talking above you. You're close. And if we scope security... You notice the telltale blue flashes of some kind of automated security inside. Who are these guys? I don't know. But I can at least try. That loses energy. Well, we need to buy some. Gaia's Geyer? Yeah, I can buy here. I have enough money, I can't. Let's do one more roll of this. That was not good. Alright, guess we gotta take another rest. Go ahead and try and scavenge fuel. That's what we need to recover on. Oh, God damn it. Okay, those rolls are pretty good. And we did get some fuel. One more. Sorry about that. One more roll. Cut our way in and we can get in. You've prepared all you can. Time to get in there and grab that drive. You slide the loose panel away from the wall, letting it float there beside the air bike rack. Behind it, in the dark, you see the blinking lights of the fuse box. A noise nearby draws your attention for a moment. The scrape of a sliding door, maybe? Or just some old system cycling in the walls? It took long enough to gain access to the Stripline Express bike garage, and longer still to find a safe route to the air bike racks. But you're almost there. You have seen and heard the hired muscles searching and guarding this place, but have been lucky enough not to come face to face with them. Yet. You turn back to the darkness behind the panel. If what Cadet said is right, the drive is taped to the back of the fuse box in front of you. You reach through and around, slowly, carefully, and your hand settles on something cold and metallic in the dark. It is taped firmly to the box. You pull at it, but it doesn't budge. A quiet rattle echoes from the dispatch office next door, and you freeze for a second. Seems Cadet was a little too enthusiastic with the tape. Peeling the tape seems best. Neutral outcome, I'll take it. You close your eyes and feel for the seams of the tape. Taking your time, you pick at it, working each piece away from the drive. You hear a clattering sound nearby as you peel off the final piece and the drive spins into your hand. Time to move. You slip the drive inside your coat and kick away from the wall, gliding back towards the maintenance corridor you entered from. As you cross the bike garage, you hear voices in the dispatch office next door. Just as you tuck yourself into the cool darkness of the maintenance corridor, a screech indicates the opening of a door from the office next door. Voices rumble through the room, and you quickly and quietly push yourself deeper into the guts of the building. Too close. Barely daring to breathe, you carefully make your way through the maze of passages that brought you here, their doglegs and dead ends now familiar. Eventually, you spot a thin slit of light ahead, marking the loose panel you levered open to gain entrance. You take a deep breath. Almost there. As you reach the gap, you freeze. Voices rumble from beyond, and peering through, you see two figures in dark clothes searching the chaotic bay behind the strip line. Your eyes are drawn to the dark, boxy weapon one holds at their side. Shit, you hiss silently to yourself, your eyes searching for a path through. Wait for an opening. Positive outcome! You wait, silent and still, as the figures search. They split and drift across the bay. You take the chance, sliding open the panel and slipping behind the scrap and boxes at the edge of the room. Tucked into the shadows, you make your way to the far side of the bay and the public passage beyond. There's a hiss and the guttural chatter of a pressure valve as an air bike pulls up beside you in the passage. Cadet leans over and grabs the collar of your coat. Hop on! In a moment, you are on the back of the air bike, clutching the strap of Cadet's bag as she guns it down the passage, the air resistance almost ripping you from the thin seat. You lean against her back and let out a sigh, the drive pressing into your ribs beneath your jacket. You did it. Still alive back there? Cadet's voice brings you back from the hypnotic rhythm of the tunnel lights rushing past the air bike. She slows the bike with a rapid series of hisses, and you realize she has brought you back into the passage outside Bliss's Bay. You try to understand the route she took, a long loop through the branching transit tunnels of the station, but give up. You can let go now. She straightens up, and you unhook your fingers from her bag strap, separating yourself from her back. You push off the bike gently and float in the passage beside her. You okay? Look pretty rough back there. She smiles. Appreciate you putting it all on the line for me. Who were those guys? Oh, your guess is as good as mine. Didn't look like anyone nice though. I wouldn't sweat it. She smiles. Go on then, let's see the drive. You fish the drive out of your jacket and hand it over. That's the one. Should have chucked it when I had the chance. You get your first good look at it, and there's not much to see. A small lump of solid-state memory with a few markers on the case. You spot a yellow hex among them. Hexport. What now? She winks, slides her bag around her shoulder to the front, and slots the drive neatly into a pocket. I know someone in the scatter yards who can crack anything. She'd be my first port of call to crack this thing open. She stretches her shoulders. And I should make myself scarce from the spindle anyway, before these dickheads catch up with me. Come with us. Appreciate the offer, but I think it's best if we go our separate ways for now. 2 targets are harder to track than 1. She cycles the pressure valve on the bike impatiently. Cadet leans away from her bike, squinting out of the viewing window at your ship behind. That yours? She doesn't wait for an answer. If I'm not mistaken, that old thing is going to struggle to reach the scatter yards. Unless you've added a Hasnav suite. Hasnav? Yeah, between here and scatter yards is drowning in debris. Worse since Hexport. You'll need hazard navigation to make the crossing safely. Lotic Syndicate created the tech to help their tankers cross the belt. Common knowledge. Cadet nods at your ship. Maybe if you head up to Wellspring you can barter or steal a suite, she adds casually. Here. Cadet unties a bag lashed to her bike frame and holds it out to you. Not enough here for a refit, but maybe you'll find some use for him. You take the bag and something clinks inside it. As you do, you open it to see a couple of engine components. Was gonna use them to boost her. She taps the frame of the air bike. But you deserve them. She meets your eye, then looks away. Not like I'll be doing any runs for a while anyway. Well, thanks. It's nothing. Like I said, you deserve them. She flexes her fingers on the bike's handles, eager to be away. Cadet's airbike stutters and purrs, trembling in the air like an arrow ready to be loosed. See you around! She winks and guns the throttle, zipping off down the passage with a pulse of air that ripples through your clothes. You stare at her after she goes, the bag of components still hanging from your hand. You realize as you look down the passage that you never asked how Cadet plans to get to the scatter yards. That question, like a score of others, will have to wait until you run into her next. Although you have a feeling she will find a way to slip away before you can ask them next time, too. You head back towards your ship to stow the components, idly wondering if you could justify buying an airbike to Seraphin as you do so. Hey! New drive available. Meet Seraphin's sister. Meet Cadet in the scatter yards. That's a major! Okay, we have some majors, but we have 4 points, which I'm going to use to boost Intuit. I feel like that might be a good idea. Interface and Intuit sound like a good mix. After that, I'll go for Engineer and then Engage, but I want Intuit. There we go. Now to save up another 4 so I can boost Engineer. That said, I still have some roles I can do. I can do some at Nimba's kitchen. I can earn a meal. And the Intuit is... Oh, wow! 4 energy. You get into a good flow, taking care to follow Nimba's barked orders, and at the end of the shift, tired and satisfied, you eat your fill. That is actually very good. There we go. After your shift, just as you were cleaning up, someone grabs you and asks if you can come out front. Sleeper, Nimba wants to see you. You nod to the other volunteers as you wipe off your hands and clip your cutlery to the magnetic rack. You drift out of the improvised canteen on your way to the kitchen in the back. It was a busy shift, and each shift seems busier than the last. That makes sense, of course. You've seen the steady flow of refugees arriving from the inner system, and most of them, with barely a chit to their name, end up in the underhang. As you cross into the kitchen, you can still hear the rumble of the refugees' conversations through the hatch. The other chef leads you past the rehydrators and the hand-built centrifugal oven to a small office unit at the back of the kitchen. They knock on the door for you, then glide away to finish their own meal, leaving you to wait by it. You look around the small but carefully arranged kitchen as you wait, your shifts here having left you familiar with the mix of improvised and salvaged equipment, some of which you have never seen before you came here. Come in, sleeper. Nemba is perched at a desk, uplit by a small transparent terminal screen, reading glasses perched at the end of his nose. You've seen Nemba before, but not as much as you'd imagine you would while working at a place called Nemba's Kitchen. Even though there isn't a proper sign out front, everyone in the underhang knows its name. The man himself is more of a mystery. Apart from the occasional barked order in the busy kitchen, he is little more than a blur to you. Why do you work here? He barely looks up from his terminal screen, the scrolling text reflected in his lenses. I want to help. Uh-huh. Nemba stops scrolling the screen and looks over his glasses at you. You do well here, sleeper. You are fast. Precise. You're doing good work. He goes back to scrolling. Thanks. Nemba lifts a hand in response. That's my worry, sleeper. Good workers like you, they move on fast. He leans back and looks at you. 10 cycles, maybe more, maybe less, and then they are gone. And the team? The team gets used to having them here, gets used to working at that pace. Then, suddenly, they have to work differently. They have to pick up the slack, change jobs, change stations, and a few of them think, well, maybe it's time I moved on too. So what I've found is, good workers are trouble. Especially those who come and go, like you. He pauses, watching you. Let him speak. This place, it runs on consistency, sleeper. Those that turn up every cycle, good or bad, they get the people fed. He takes off his reading glasses, inspecting them for smudges. Let's be honest. That ain't you. So let's cut it. I can't use you in the kitchen anymore. You're done. Sorry. But this place also runs on all those machines out there, on the suppliers I can rope in, the donations. Feeding refugees from the inner system is logistics as much as it is chefing. Which is why I'm cooped up in the back. So, maybe you're gone. I never see you again. Okay, thanks for coming. We'll soldier on without you. But maybe you still want to be useful. Maybe I heard you have a ship. Yeah, maybe I heard you chatting. And maybe I have a little something held up in a place only a ship like yours can reach. I negotiated the purchase of some valuable inner system spores from a group that came from there, but they somehow ended up at the depot in Greenbelt. So if you head to Greenbelt and you find the delivery and you bring it back, well, that would be helping. That would be the kind of helping a good worker, even an inconsistent worker, might be able to offer me. Nemba squints at you. Seems like the kind of thing that someone genuine, someone who wants to help for real, might do, don't you think? He doesn't wait for your reply. But it also seems like the kind of thing that might sit on a list of priorities for so long it disappears and never gets done. I've seen that happen too. I guess we'll find out which it is. He deftly places his reading glasses back on his face and continues to scroll the screen on his terminal. You know the way out, sleeper. You turn in the doorway, slightly taken aback, and it slides shut behind you. You glide out through the kitchen, through the improvised canteen and the people eating and chatting there, and into the cold underhang passageway beyond. All the time considering what you might do next, and recalling the persuasive glint in Nemba's eyes. Interesting. Nemba's place is as busy as ever. You are sure he'll be happy to finally get his spores. But to do that, we need to go to the green belt. Which is where? Holmes Rock, Hellion Gate. That's the green belt. The Hollow, Scatter Yards, which we can't get to. Dark Side, yeah, you know we're not going to get there. and Wellspring. So we do eventually need to get to Wellspring. We just need Hasnav to get there. Most likely Hellion Gate is where we're going next, but before we do that, we do have this ice-rich asteroid, which we do need to do. Survey an asteroid, which we can do. I have 2 more here, which I can use on something. The signal station? I could use it at the signal station just to, you know, get a little bit of money. Yeah, that's a little bit of money. Okay. And if we do one more rest... Scavenge some more fuel if you can. Okay, Shannon. Oh, those are bad rolls, and you weren't able to get any more. Ugh. Well, let me see here. Scrapper ship. You process raw scrap, that is true. I will do a couple more of these, just so I have 4 processed scrap. I feel like that would be something good to have. And we get some cryo out of it. That we're not going to be able to do anything at. I can use this 6 in order to get a lot here. Not much I can do about the sleeper suspicion, but, I mean, it is something. And I can now buy the rest of the fuel. I mean, it was plenty. I was able to supply all of that. And much as I'd like to do something else, I don't think I necessarily need to. I think what I'll do next is go out and take care of that, that other mission I have. Which I think I'll do in the next episode. This episode, a few minutes shorter, but I think it's gone on about long enough. Next episode, another mission. Till then, I am Chestic44, also known as Palai. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper 2, and I shall see you all next time.